Hello everybody. Hey, welcome back. This is Cal Banyan from calbanyan.com with another hypnosis training podcast. Well, last podcast was pretty much informational. I talked about where you can get some information by joining our Yahoo groups. Today I wanted to get into a little bit more deep hypnosis technology and talk about, from time to time I get questions, Cal, can you tell me about this? Or Cal, I've got this problem with a particular client. And there's a particular question that comes up from time to time, even from advanced hypnotherapists like 5-pathers, those who are certified in 5-path. That really has to do with what I call working with boomerang symptoms. By boomerang symptoms, I mean they seem to go away and then they come back. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly tackle that particular that particular problem, working with boomerang symptoms. And it could be any particular issue. You could be working with an anxiety disorder, the problem goes away and then it comes back. You could be working on, let's see, last week I was working with a weight loss client and she was doing really well for a long time. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she had a binge eating episode. And so that's an example of boomerang symptoms. She's doing just fine, and then it came back. So then I worked with that issue, and now she's doing fine again. And there's more you can do than just do more direct suggestion and reinforce things, because sometimes, and quite often, what that is another level of the problem emerging and almost being asked, asking you for assistance with a particular issue. Okay, I'm going to read to you an email that I received today from a hypnotherapist that is a 5-pather, someone who uses 5-path, and has just recently experienced a client showing boomerang symptoms. So I'll just read it to you and then I will talk about it for a few minutes. Okay, she writes me, I have a client that is having full-blown panic attacks. I've completed 6 sessions. I worked through the age regression, found what I believe to be the ISE, which is the initial sensitizing event, which is the event that appears to have started the whole problem. She's tested and confirmed using the 7 or 8 techniques you can use to test to validate an ISE, and then she moved on and from phase 2, which is the age regression session, and then done phase 3 and 4, which is forgiveness of self work and forgiveness of others' work. But before I go on, let me give a quick little rundown on 5-path so that you can get the context. There's more information on 5-path, a brief explanation, and then also longer articles on hypnosiscenter.com, 5-path.com, that's 5-path.com, 5path.com. And also there's some articles on Banyan Hypnosis Mall.com. But the synopsis of 5-path is really that we go beyond just direct suggestion work. We go beyond thinking in terms of our clients as having patterns or habits, but really that there's an emotional factor to just about everything that our client is having difficulty with. And so phase 1 is the preparation, testing, and convincing phase. In that phase, we prepare the client by doing a pre-talk, pre-hypnosis interview. Then we do the induction. We do covert testing for somnambulism, because that's the level we work in 5-path. And then we do overt testing to demonstrate to the client that he or she is hypnotized, and that's called a convincer. Once that's done, then we'll move into phase 2. Phase 2 is age regression. We will typically do what's called affect bridge age regression, where we bring the emotion up that's associated with the problem, and then we will follow that feeling back to all the main events in her life where she's experienced that emotion associated with the behavior or symptom that we're working with, until we get to what's called the initial sensitizing event, which is also called an ISE, and it's really the first time that the problem, that the emotion or the idea that caused the problem was experienced. And then after that has been dealt with by going before the problem, giving the regressed client, usually a child before the age of 5, whatever information he or she needs to get through the ISE, and then the subsequent events, which are called subsequent sensitizing events, to remove the cause of the problem and then reinforce the change. There may also be done some age progression work during phase 2, where the hypnotherapist takes them into their probable future where they can experience a change and reinforce the mental expectation that they will experience those results. Also, because fundamental to 5-path is the idea that it's really emotions that are driving the problem. Age regression is usually about fear, and we'll find that usually, but not always, fear is associated with the cause of the problem, the age regression. But since then, other emotions have been associated with the problem, such as anger, guilt, frustration, and that kind of thing. And in phase 3, we deal directly with anger through what we call forgiveness of others. 5-pathers call it FOO, which is just an acronym for forgiveness of others. And then after that, we do forgiveness of self, which is FOS, acronym for forgiveness of self. And then if that, for most people, will take care of the problem. However, there are some situations where we call secondary gain. Secondary gain means there's something in the present that is either reinforcing the behavior or symptoms of the past or demanding it. And in that case, we will go into a special form of parts therapy called parts mediation therapy, which is phase 5 of 5-path. Okay, so having said that, let me repeat part of this question and then read through it again. I have a client that is having full-blown panic attacks. I have completed 6 sessions, gone back through the ISE. I confirmed that the event that I am calling the ISE was indeed the first time, and so was indeed the ISE. Did, after the age regression, the forgiveness of others work, phase 3, and phase 4 with her, and we thought we had everything solved. After her last session, she immediately was tested for how well she was doing by her daughter's school calling her, saying that she'd been rushed to the hospital in an ambulance because of an asthma attack. A lot of my clients' SSEs were directly related to being in the hospital and ambulances being involved. So she went through the situation the day she left my office and handled it great. She called me immediately after this event, explaining to me how she couldn't believe how she handled the event without an attack. Now, of course, I know this hypnotherapist, and she's been trained properly. If she's working with a panic attack, which is really a psychological term, this means that she has contacted the proper physician or psychologist, licensed medical or mental health professional, to get the referral to work with a panic attack. And the doctor has not been successful, and so she's received a referral on that. That she continues to write. Now it's 3 weeks later, and she's contacted me to let me know that the panic attacks are back. And she says, maybe there's another ISE. And she is writing to our 5-path group on Yahoo, asking, has anyone ever had this happen or have dealt with this type of situation? Is there anything else you can suggest for me to do? Any assistance? And then parentheses, she says, even from you, Cal, would be greatly appreciated. So she's kind of asking me to step in on this one. So I thought, what a great idea. I would use this as an example of what I call working with Boomerang Symptoms. So this is the deal. You work with the client, you get rid of the problem, they're doing fine for some period of time. Could be weeks or months. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, the problem comes back. Why is that? there's two main reasons. Either the work that needed to be done in phases 1 through 4 was not completely or sufficiently done, or there's secondary gain. And this is what we do to find out. I'm going to tell you something. This is really great. If you do any kind of age regression work, or if you're a 5-pather, or if you're thinking about getting 5-path training, I'm going to give you a nugget here that is just really important. The way we're going to find out is we'll get the client into our office, we'll rehypnotize her, deepen her to somnambulism. And then what we're going to do is age regression, but it's not going to be an affect bridge age regression. Rather, it's going to be what we call a date-time regression. And what we're going to do is we're going to tell her, I'm going to count from 3 back to 1. When I get to 1, you're going to be at one of the most recent times where you experienced this symptom or behavior, whatever it is. For example, I would say to this lady, if she was my client, I'm going to count from 3 back to 1. When I get back to 1, you're going to be back in that time last week where you were experiencing the panic attack. 3, 2, 1. And then when she's there, I'm going to ask the fabulous 5 questions. I'm going to find out what's happening. I'm going to find out what she's thinking, what she's feeling. I'm going to find out if that feeling is familiar and new, and how old she is, to confirm that she is, in this recent time that I want her to be in. Now, if that feeling is familiar, then that means that what's causing the problem is something in the past. If it is something in the past that's causing this feeling, that means more age regression needs to be done. And we will just follow that feeling back. And we will find out generally one of 2 things is going on. Either that we did not do sufficient work in the ISE. We got to go take her back to the ISE again, do the informed child work, which is give the child the information he or she needs to know so that she can go through the ISE once again without feeling the feeling, usually of fear, that is generating the problem. Now, the other possible thing that could be happening is that what she's feeling is familiar, but what she's thinking is different. Now, what could be happening is that something now or in the future could be causing the reoccurrence of the emotion. For example, if she thinks, oh boy, now that I don't have this panic anymore, I'm going to have to do something I don't like to do, or I will lose some benefit that I used to have by having this symptom. Also, if she just becomes aware in any shape or form that she loses something of importance to her, something really significant in her life, by losing the symptom or the problem or the behavior, whatever it was, then what we have is a case of secondary gain. So what we will do is, if the feeling is new, or if she's thinking about it in a new way, which is what? Meaning that she is thinking that she's going to lose something or be less better off now because she has let go of the symptom, then the subconscious mind or the unconscious mind can regenerate the symptomology or the bad habit or whatever it was that you had cleared her of, so that she would get back this important thing. A typical example of that would be with the pain management client. Someone has come in for pain management. We now have successfully, by going through phase 1, 2, 3, 4, taken care of the cause of the pain. They're now relieved, and then they find out, well, gosh, now that you don't have that pain, you're going to be expected to take out the garbage, you're going to be expected to get a full-time job, and so on. Oh, and by the way, you're going to lose that income that you used to get from the insurance company or Social Security Administration or whatever it is. And boy, the unconscious and subconscious levels of the mind is pretty smart. And it will, in some cases, begin to generate that pain again. Now, this is not malingering. We consciously decide to fake it. the subconscious mind and unconscious mind working together can recreate the pain. And there's just about no medication in the world that's going to be able to get rid of that pain because it's not being caused by the injury. Okay, so let me wrap this up. If you've got a client that maybe has an anxiety problem, a fear, phobia, whatever, or has a pain problem, or has a bad habit, smoking, drinking, whatever, and the problem is gone for a while and then comes back, she's experiencing what I call boomerang symptoms. And they've gone away and they've come back. With a boomerang, you want it to come back, but with the symptoms, we don't want it to come back. But nevertheless, it has. What you do first is you regress them to the recent time, like in this last week where they had the problem. If the feeling is familiar, and it's one that you've worked on in these sessions of age regression and the other work you've done, then that means that either the work you did is insufficient, you didn't clear out the ISC as well as you thought, or it was ineffective in some way, or there's a second ISC, some other emotion, some other event other than the earliest event you went to that is generating the emotion or the erroneous belief that's generating the problem. So in that case, you just do the age regression, follow that feeling back, find out what's going on, find out if it's familiar or new, follow it back, find out if it's familiar or new. When you find out that it's new, then do these other things that we do to validate the ISC. If it's the same ISC you worked on before, then there's more work that needs to be done there. Go in, do more informed child work, get it cleared. If it is a different ISC, then do the informed child work with that. And really the ISC is where you give that regressed client, usually regressed to the childhood state, whatever information he or she needs so that she can, again, go through the ISC without picking up the emotion or the negative thinking that causes the problem. If the feeling is not from the past, if it's about something that's going on now or in the future, then we want to suspect secondary gain, and then we want to do phase 5. Phase 5, parts mediation therapy, what we're going to do is go in as a mediator, we're going to psychologically divide that individual into 2 parts. There's the self who wants to change, and then there is the still wanting to do the old behavior part. And what we're going to do, and how you do phase 5 is really more than I can get into on this video, but what we're going to do is we're going to mediate between those two. We're going to uncover what's good about both wanting to change and not wanting to change, and then we're going to come up with a win-win solution where the client can make the change that he or she wants to make without losing anything. And to learn more about that, look up parts mediation therapy on one of the websites that I discussed. And also a little plug in here for if you're thinking about getting 5-path training. Of course, we have our live training programs. You can learn about that on hypnosiscenter.com. We also have 5-path training and certification through distance learning, and then also we have advanced training for 5-pathers and other advanced hypnotherapists in the Banyan Online Supervision CD program. Also available for either for us to ship off to you or for download on Banyan Hypnosis Mall. Okay, that's it. I'm trying to keep these podcasts a little bit shorter. Please, if you have questions that you would like me to cover during one of these podcasts, email them to me at calbanyan.com. That's CALBANYAN. Be real happy to take a look at them, and if I think it's something that everybody would benefit from, I'll put it in one of our podcasts. That's it. I'm so glad you checked out this podcast. It's also available in audio-only form. All the links and all the resources and all of our podcasts are available on calbanyan.com. I believe these are also available like on YouTube and Video Google and Blip TV and all that kind of stuff. So search around. I'm just about everywhere on the internet. That's it for today. This is Cal Banyan. Hope to see you in class. Signing off.
This recording is the property of Cal Banyan and Cal Banyan's Banyan Publishing Incorporated. All rights reserved, for private use only, may not be duplicated without written permission.